I'm Laurie Axman. Welcome everyone today. I'm with the Penn Center for Innovation, and today we're actually celebrating a few occasions. One is the 5-year anniversary of the launch of the Pennovation Center and Pennovation Works campus. So that's very exciting because a lot has changed. We also are planning for our upcoming celebration of innovation on December 2nd, which is really to highlight all the commercialization successes here at Penn and recognize our faculty and startups for all the work they've done. And in particular, our faculty were awarded the most patents ever in the history of Penn this past fiscal year. So it's just been a very prolific time, continuing to try to engage with, our community across Penn and externally around resources and programs that we think can further support commercialization success. And so today we're really pleased to be hosting Anish Kumar, the Managing Director of the Pennovation Works campus and the Pennovation Center, to give us an update and overview of all the activity down there, maybe a little bit of what's next. In particular, we're interested to learn about what the opportunities are for faculty, researchers, or affiliated startups on the campus. I'll turn it over to you, Anish.
Thank you, Laurie. Good afternoon and welcome to this week of celebration for us here at Pennovation. It's a bit of it's an informative presentation, but it also feels like a bit of a showing off what we've all accomplished and at Pennovation over the past 5 years. It's not the work of one department or one entity at Penn. It's really been, I would say almost every entity at Penn has touched Pennovation in some way or the other over the past 5 years, either directly participating in programming or being a member or having hosted an event at Pennovation. In some way, almost everybody has participated. So it's one of those success stories that, it's my pleasure to be at talking about it right now at this point. So Pennovation is 23 acres of property that is located across the Schuylkill River from the Penn Medicine facilities. It's well connected to Center City and to Penn through Grace Ferry and 34th Street. There are a number of bus routes that connect Pennovation to Center City, South Philly, West Philly, and Fairmount, 30th Street Station, and the Penn campus. We have a shuttle service that provides connectivity between the Pennovation campus and the University of Pennsylvania Medical and Academic campus. So it's right next to the Schuylkill River, and there is a very active and well-developed trail that is being further developed so that trail will connect Pennovation to Center City through the Schuylkill River Trail and also to Bartram's Garden and then the lower Schuylkill area out there. So it's well connected. The campus was about 10 to 15 years ago was a paint R&D facility operated by DuPont and has a long history of innovation. And Penn's goal when the property was purchased was to create a resource in Philadelphia for entrepreneurs who needed facilities, equipment, mentorship to convert their discoveries into viable business ventures. That's still our mission. It is what we do every day. And there are 3 types of resources that we offer here at Pennovation. One is facilities. Obviously, there's 23 acres of campus. We have parking, we have security, we have food service of various sorts. Given its location, we have to curate that as well. And there's public transportation, as I mentioned before. The site also offers opportunities for researchers and companies to use the outdoor areas to sort of enable their work. The Penn Vet Working Dog Center uses our campus to train their dogs. Ghost Robotics uses the campus to train their robotic dogs. And so it's a fairly active environment within our 23 acres. We have 250,000 square feet of activated occupied space right now, which is almost all occupied. We are running at about 90 to 95% occupancy. And this is a combination of labs, wet labs, dry labs, office space, maker space, flex space, warehousing, etc. That's today on the campus. And our long range plan is to grow to up to 2 million square feet over the next 20 years. The facilities, and I'll tell you more about the facilities as I move along and talk about each of the main buildings on the campus. The second part of our resource are a whole series of acceleration programs, and that are offered by our partners, PCI, PCI Ventures, 76 Forward, and others. And the focus of these programs is to help companies accelerate and be ready for investors. We offer pitch practices, we offer coaching, we have a mentors in residence program. There's all kinds of resources that we make available through PCIV for hiring, team formation, market positioning. And then obviously there are a whole bunch of networking and community activities that members are able to participate in the course of their days. We have, and the third aspect or the third leg of this resource tool platform that we offer is a community. It's a curated community with 70 companies today, private companies. There are 400 people who work here every day. There's 11 Penn research entities. There's 4 corporate members, such as Qualcomm, Johnson & Johnson, and others. There are 2 venture capital funds that are dedicated to Pennovation companies. One of them maintains offices on our campus. I mentioned the mentors in residence, and we also run 2 accelerators. So this is the whole range of resources that we offer any company that becomes a member. And it could be, a mobile membership for $99 a month, or it could be a full lab or a full floor of a lab building. Everybody has access to the same resources on our campus. So today, we have 3 main buildings that are activated, and I'll tell you about each of these 3 buildings. There's the Pennovation Center, which was the first building that was activated 5 years ago, and that's 58,000 square feet. We have the Innovator office building, which is across from Pennovation Center. This provides graduation space for companies that have grown out of the incubator in the center. And then there's a Pennovation lab building that's just been activated. Pennovation Center is our hub. This is the incubator, and it's also home to Perch, which is the Penn Engineering Research and Collaboration Hub, where researchers from the GRASP lab work with researchers and their students to spin out technologies and new companies that come out of these places. So Pennovation Center provides offices. You can have a private office, you can have a shared office. There's a co-working desks that you can get. There are lab benches. We can rent people a bench at a time or an entire room of 6 to 8 benches. And garages on the first floor for dry lab work and maker space. In our incubator, we provide much of the equipment that any company would need. The freezers are provided, the incubators are provided, fume hoods are provided, biosafety cabinets are provided, microscopes of different types, and there's a whole list of equipment that we offer on a shared basis to anybody who becomes a lab member. There are seminar rooms and meeting rooms that can be reserved by members. which are fully equipped with audio-visual equipment, etc. There's a kitchenette, there's a small grab-and-go cafe, and the center also serves as a venue for events and programs by our members. So, for example, the Penn Vet Working Dogs Center is celebrating its anniversary next year, and they will be hosting a big event on the first floor on the steps. So it's available, and it's a multifunctional space that provides all kinds of facilities for people. The Inventor office building was developed about 3 years ago to provide a home for companies that have graduated from the incubator. So these are companies like Cocoa Press or IQ Motion Control and a whole bunch of others who need their own space. They need their own closed door space where they can do their development R&D work. And so it's about 21,000 square feet of space. And in addition to the private companies that have graduated from the center, it's also home to various Penn research labs. The GRASP lab has a facility there. It's called the Precise Center for the IoT lab. The IoT for Agriculture program has its labs there. The Scalable Autonomous Robots lab by Dr. Shea is there. And the School of Design has its polyhedral structures lab in this building as well. In addition, there are companies like Ghost Robotics, IQ Motion Control, Aqueduct Fluidics, Cocoa Press. These are all companies that have actually come out of the SEAS program that call the Inventor office home. It's a maker space. It's not equipped for any wet lab work, but it's used by our robotics and IoT companies quite extensively. The Pennovation Lab was opened last year, and this is brand new. It's 65,000 square feet of wet lab space. It's 90% wet lab capable. The building is at this time almost fully occupied. It provides space for biotechnology and biotherapeutic companies that have grown out of the incubator. Again, we have Inamed, Interius, Strela Biotechnology are the three companies that are in there right now, and the others are still developing the designs for their labs. The lab building is basically modular, and it allows us to build customized suites for each company based on their process. It has a lot of base building infrastructure that I'll talk about in a little bit. But the main focus of the lab was to give companies exactly what kind of space they want. So we have a team of architects and engineers, developers, project managers that works with each company that rents space there to design their lab, to engineer it, and then to build it out. We manage the whole process from start to finish for each company that becomes a member of the Pennovation Lab. I mentioned modular, so this is just two of the floor plans. It show you the 2,000 square foot module. And then there is an illustrative layout on the left side of the screen that shows what each 2,000 square foot module is capable of providing, so that it's big enough for a conference room, some open office area, maybe a private office, tissue culture room, a pantry, and other workspace, and then 8 lab benches with 2 fume modes. So that's sort of what, just to give you an idea of what a 2,000 square foot wet lab module gets you. You can rent 1 module, you can rent 2, 3, 4, and then obviously this is just an illustrative design. Each lab is designed to suit the end user's requirement. So some people need less fume hoods, some people need more, some people want more benches, less offices. You know, we are quite flexible, and the building itself supports a whole range of customizations. The base building provides a whole bunch of stuff that people need. So there's you know, electric power. There's an emergency generator. We have 2 sources of electricity, so in case one goes down, the other one kicks in. If both of them go down, then we have an emergency generator that provides 400 kilowatts of power to each suite. It has a very high quality HVAC system that provides 100% outside air, treated outside air at 68 degrees to each suite. And then there are VRF cassettes in each suite that allow tenants to regulate their temperatures 2 degrees up or down. So it can go from 66, 65 to 72, depending on what people need. There are 6 air changes planned in each of per hour in each of the labs. There's voice and data. We do have 3 sources of data, including Xfinity on the campus, and there are IDF closets on each floor, security and life safety and plumbing. So all this base building infrastructure becomes a resource and eventually a cost saving for each tenant, because the tenant doesn't have to pay for all these things as part of their fit out. The building has some shared amenities. So we have a 2-story lobby, we have a lounge that can be reserved by people for company events, and an autoclave and glass wash and storage for waste and other stuff. We have cages on the first floor that people can rent to store things they don't want to keep in their suites. And obviously everybody who's a tenant in the lab building has access to all the shared amenities on the campus. So these are the 3 buildings that are here today, and they're part of our long-range master plan, as I mentioned before, of up to 2 million square feet of space. And on this drawing, you'll see where those two of those 3 buildings are, which are intended to remain in our long-range plan. The Inventor office building is something that we see being replaced by another building at some point in the 10 to 15-year horizon. It's not part of the first phase, which we are actually working very hard to implement at this time. So we have been working with the development community to create a new wet lab and GMP manufacturing facility on the site. And I think we are getting close to being able to make an announcement very soon. So with that, what our goal and our ambition is that we should be able to provide all the space that a company that starts at Pennovation needs throughout its full life cycle. So you start in the center on a desk or a lab bench, you grow into the Inventor office or the lab building into what we call graduate space. And then as you enter into your clinical trial phase or other phases of development for robotics companies, then you move into the 3rd building that has space for mid-sized companies and also suite style GMP manufacturing facilities. And eventually, when a company reaches commercial scale, it could have its own building within our campus. So the goal is to sort of provide an ecosystem that supports them throughout their entire life cycle. So moving on from facilities to the acceleration programs. So as I'd mentioned before, Pennovation Center is our hub. And this is where we provide all of our acceleration and community building programs at Pennovation. So I'm going to give you a sense of some of the acceleration programs that we have. Obviously, there's business formation and investor readiness, hiring team formation, a whole bunch of things that I've mentioned on this slide that are designed by PCI and PCIV and 76 Forward, our partners in this, to help companies with whatever advice, mentorship, connections they need to move forward and to build their companies. So it's tailored. So somebody might, during an office hours session, say, I'd like to learn more about the KOZ program and how to benefit from it. And so then we reach out to the KOZ administrators, the Keystone Opportunity Zone, that provides tax benefits to those companies that are located at Pennovation. And then they come in and they provide a seminar, and we tape record those seminars, and they're available to everybody. So in a little more detail, the PCIV, Penn Center for Innovation Ventures, is housed at Pennovation. Their entire staff is here. And they have four main things that they do. They have the Mentors in Residence program. There are 7 on staff right now. And as our community grows and as needs grow, we may increase the number of mentors that are available. These mentors basically are paired with each company and they provide guidance on a one-on-one basis through office hours. During COVID, they have been all virtual. I'm looking forward to the day where we can welcome them back on the campus. They are slowly starting to do more in-person meetings, but they are virtual right now. There's business development seminars that ECIV hosts to provide education and coaching. There are office hours with PCIV staff. And an important thing to note here is that it's not just the PCIV staff that is made available through office hours. It's the entire PCIV affiliated service providers, such as legal, payroll, bookkeeping, insurance, benefits. So all these service providers provide office hours, and companies that are in the incubator can book an hour with somebody, maybe an IP lawyer, to get some pointers, advice on how to solve the problems they're working on. We also have sessions and feedbacks from VCs, angel investors, consultants, and that's all offered through the office hours. And then there are events and networking. There's a variety of events that occur throughout the year. We had about 137 such programs in 2019, which is the last pre-COVID metric that I use because COVID was different for everybody. And so we think that normal was 2019, whatever that means, as an aspiration to go for the next normal. The other thing that we have is that Pennovation created a partnership about a year ago with Johnson & Johnson. And Johnson & Johnson operates a program called the JPOD out of Pennovation Center. It's a full service business and technology incubator that's integrated with our ecosystem. And the JPOD is open to Pennovation companies, but also companies in the greater Philadelphia area. So we have 21 companies that are in the JPOD accelerator right now. These are selected by Johnson & Johnson based on the company profile and Johnson & Johnson's bench of experts. So once a company enters the JPOD program, they're matched with experts, scientific experts at Johnson & Johnson through what they call their JPAL program. And Johnson & Johnson offers all kinds of business and scientific education. They provide global connections to these companies that are within their program and site visits by thought leaders. And they promote these companies through their sponsored events. So there are various ways of getting into the JPOD. And if anybody wants to know more, please drop me an email and I'll connect you with Olivia McPherson, who manages the JPOD program and our relationship with Johnson & Johnson. So the third leg I mentioned was the community. And these are just some of the logos of the companies that are at Pennovation. I mentioned before, there are 70 today. And I think I've counted over the past 5 years, and it's not an exact number, but I think about 120 to 130 companies have passed through our doors over this time. It's a pretty good metric. And these companies are very diverse. It's a good mix of robotics and IoT companies and biotechnology and biotherapeutic companies and other kinds of cutting edge technologies and innovations. I think that these companies are also complemented by these Penn research entities. So you'll see on this a whole lot of Penn entities, Penn schools that are represented at Pennovation. They have centers. You also see the names of our corporate members, Johnson & Johnson, Acumed, Hillrom, and Qualcomm, as well as our operating partner, 76 Forward, and the two VCs that are dedicated to Pennovation, Grace Ferry Capital Partners and Red and Blue Ventures. So that sort of together creates this vibrant community that we have. And really the best way to experience it is to come and visit, because these are just a few of the scenes of what actually goes on here. And it's amazing. If you come and sit in the plaza or you go and walk around on the campus, there's really very interesting things that are going on every day on this campus. So please feel free to drop me an email and come and visit. I'm here all the time. And the best part of my day is to show people around Pennovation, show them all the amazing things that we've done here.
No, thank you for such a comprehensive overview of all the opportunities and programs occurring on campus right now. That was fabulous. So if I'm a startup affiliated with Penn or not, or someone, a faculty researcher based at Penn and wants to learn more or wants to get a sense of how to plug in or potentially explore space at the Pennovation Center Works campus, what should they do? I mean, just contact you and you could take it from there. I just, do you recommend folks explore the website first? Just if you could lay out the steps, that would be great.
Sure. So there are multiple ways, and my goal is to keep it simple for everybody and direct. So you can always email me, and people do it all the time. Just email me, and we'll have a chat. You can come and visit or not, and then once I understand what you need, whether you need a bench or a seat or a whole room or a whole lab or a whole building, we can sort of connect you with the people on my team who take care of various parts of Pennovation. The other more formal way of doing it is to go through our website, and we do have a sign up for a tour and membership application. You can fill that out and someone will get back to you very quickly. Again, a request for information. We sort of like to learn about your needs before we take the next step. Once you have made contact and we understand what kind of facility or what kind of membership you want, then we have a 3-question questionnaire. It's a curation question. So I have a small committee of 3 of us that curate the tenant mix. We just want to make sure that companies that come to Pennovation can truly benefit from the resources that we have. So it's 3 questions. We don't ask you to reveal any confidential information or your IP. We don't ask for any participation in your company. Just answer the 3 questions. We go through curation. Once curation approves it, then we take the next step. We are currently have little vacancy, but in those cases, what we do is we maintain a waiting list. And it's in chronological order. So as soon as something becomes available, somebody will contact you and say, okay, we have a bench available now. And so some people also become a member, on a mobile member or something while they wait for the facilities to become available. So those are the sort of steps in that process. Once we all figure out what you have and what you need, then you enter into a license agreement if you're going to be a member of the incubator, or a lease agreement if it's a full lab. And I work with each company directly.
Just what are the benefits and contrast maybe to some other places in the city of Philadelphia that you think are unique to Pennovation Works or the center? One thing I can just highlight is you get a very close connection and collaboration with the Penn community at large. And so that brings a lot of benefits alone, we like to think. but I wanted to get your perspective on that, Anish.
I think the biggest benefit is proximity to the researchers and founders at Penn. Many of the companies we have here have come out of the Penn system, and they still have connections with their Penn colleagues and Penn labs. Some companies like Interiors Biotherapeutics is founded by a Penn professor, and they need to be close to him so that the amount of time taken to travel between the labs and the Penn labs is not much. So that's a benefit for those companies that have a Penn affiliation or are working with Penn to test out there. So some companies also have agreements with Penn labs, like Aqueduct Fluidics is testing out their lab robot in some Penn labs. They have agreement with that. So it being so close and being connected through a shuttle service and pedestrian paths and bus service allows them to do that work more efficiently. I think the other thing that's unique about us is that we are a campus. Unlike a single building in the middle of downtown, which again, that has its benefits and that has a place for some companies who prefer that environment. The companies that tend to come to us value the campus environment, the fact that everything is within place, that you don't have to leave in order to grow. We have space for people to graduate out of the lab, out of the incubator, and we will soon have space for people to graduate out of their graduation space. We have parking, we have a community field, we have a plaza, people can sit outside under the trees in good weather. And during COVID, that's been a very big advantage and benefit. Companies have had meetings outdoors in the plaza. It's a low density environment. You typically don't have to take the elevator to your lab or to your office on any given day. There's no building here that's more than 4 stories. And in COVID, this became a very big benefit. People didn't have to go into an elevator. I think that, the affiliation with Penn, if you are a Penn affiliated company, you do get a discount for the initial years of formation. That's a very big benefit of being at Pennovation. That if there are students in this audience who want to engage with the Pennovation ecosystem, there are a couple of different ways for them to do that. They can engage with the research centers that are SEAS affiliated and that have offices here, like the Perch lab, the Dr. Shea's lab, the IoT for Agriculture lab, and the Precise Center. So those are students do interact with researchers who are located in those labs here. The Penn Vet Working Dog Center, and there's a whole bunch of other Penn research entities that do have student interns in their mix. The other is the President's Innovation Prize. So people who participate in that and win a prize, they get free membership at Pennovation for a year. And the third is the accelerator. Students can always apply. If they have an idea, if they formed a company or are forming a company, they can apply to be part of our accelerator, which is a 6-week immersion program where we take young companies through or young founders through a whole range of business formation and investor readiness exercise set of sessions.
I think this has been an amazing overview of what's happened and where we're going. So thank you for joining us.